Hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Great to be with you. It is September 14th, 2024. Welcome to IFOL Inspiration for Your Life. Do check out my hat. You can go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. So why not check that out, guys? I know you're really going to enjoy it. And I want to thank you for being with me, whether you're with me at 9, 10 p.m., 9, 10 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m., it doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for being here. And now to kick off our master topic for the week, the beauty of breaking. That sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? But that's our master topic for the week. So very, very important topic. And so we're going to dissect this and get into it and figure out, what exactly is going on and, what do I actually mean by this? I think that's probably something that is going to be pretty cool to talk about. But when we talk about breaking, I think a lot of people just panic and they're like, oh my gosh, this is breaking. Like, what the heck am I going to do? Well, first thing you do is you're going to get a grip. That's number one. Once you get a grip, then you're going to realize that you have more power than you think you have. You have more power than you think you have. That's a pretty cool thing, but you have to be able to know that and acknowledge it. That's really the most important thing I can tell you. You have to be able to know that you have that power. So let's dive right into our show here. So this whole week, we're going to be getting into all these topics. Now, tonight is the preview show, right? That's where I tell you what we're going to be talking about the rest of the week. So if you pay attention to what I'm going to say tonight, you're going to see what we're going to be going over, through the week. I think that's going to be something that's going to be pretty cool. And I think it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to enjoy because I'm really going over some amazing topics here, guys. Some really, really, really good topics. So thinking about that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a really, really cool thing. And so let's just get right into it, shall we? So the first thing is breaking down to break through. That's one that might be a little bit confusing. Sometimes, we have to fall apart just in the beginning of an incredible comeback, right? Sometimes everything seems like it's falling apart, and then it's like, oh, wow, there's the miracle. There's the magic, right? But sometimes we just focus on, what we can't see. And the fact that, oh, it's not working. Oh, this is breaking. And we don't allow ourselves to get, let's say, focused on a success, focused on the miracle that we want. Those miracles do happen. They happen from energy. So the beauty of breaking means that we appreciate things, but we're going to get a lot deeper into this, okay? We're also going to cover this week the art of surrender. We're going to talk about why surrendering, what that means and when you should do that. Another thing we're going to talk about this week is shattered but stronger. We're going to go into all these things. We're going to talk about the wisdom that you learn when things fall apart. Okay, so yeah, I see that we have some people. Thank you, Chris. So we have some people here that basically are not following the guidelines. Thank you so much, Chris, for letting me know that. I really do appreciate that. Just to let you guys know, when you don't follow protocol, or if you start to use curse words, or if you start to use slang or anything like that, or you start to insult the guest or the host. In this case, they were actually trying to insult me by making some, let's say, very bad, tasteless insinuendos. So we have put them in a timeout. If they do it again, they'll be permanently removed and permanently blocked. And I have to tell you, we are very seriously considering dropping Twitch. We have gotten a lot of troublemakers from Twitch. And so we're really seriously considering this year whether we're going to renew with Twitch next year, because we've just found a lot of challenges with them. All right. We're also going to talk about the wisdom in falling apart. Now, that's a really cool thing, ladies and gentlemen, the wisdom when things fall apart. It's like they don't have to be held together, but they can fall apart, and there's wisdom in it. We're also going to go into the power of being broken. So there's power in being broken. I think a lot of people get a perception that they can't do something because it appears broken, right? It appears broken. I think that's a really cool thing. And I know what you're saying with that, right? I think it's something that's pretty cool. I think most people don't quite understand what I mean by that, right? They just don't seem to get it. And so when we think about that, I know sometimes you might be like, well, how does this work? Like, how do we actually get into something? How do we believe something? And I think it comes down to, where we are in life, right? I think that's a big thing, where we are in life. And so knowing where we are in life is something that I feel is, I'm going to say very, very cool. And so, we're going to talk about what it means to break down. We're going to talk exactly what that means. And I think most people don't understand what that means. They don't understand what it means. So we're going to dive into what does that actually mean, the power of being broken. We're also going to go through refining rock bottom. We're going to talk about what that really means, because that's something that I think is really, really cool, right? And so I think when some people hear about things falling apart, they're like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? How is this going to work? Like, where is this going to go? And maybe you're going to say to yourself, well, I really don't know how it's going to go or where it's going to be, but we'll redefine rock bottom. We're going to go through embracing the fracture. These are all pretty cool things, right? So we're going to go through what embracing the fracture means. And so we'll go over these in pretty deep detail. So every night, ladies and gentlemen, in case you guys have not realized, we are going to be going through some really, 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 really cool stuff. Okay. But this happens because people start to realize that, they have this potential in life, right? They have this potential. And so when I say you have a certain potential, I mean that. Some people just, they look at everything and they look at everything bad, okay? But they don't really understand, like, what it means, right? They don't understand, like, what it means. So now that we understand, like, what something means, I think that's going to be like, I'm going to call it the bee's knees, okay? I'm actually going to call it, yes, the bee's knees. You heard me say that correctly. And so when we think about that, and we think about our power, and we think about the fact that sometimes we don't have power, but really that power is the fact that we don't have it is an illusion. We do have the power, but it's an illusion that we don't have it. Just like having it's an illusion too. So life is about illusions, right? It's all about illusions. But what we believe is what becomes. So we're going to get more deep into that. So again, we have another, thank you, Chris. It looks like we have another one. We got to put this person in a timeout and ban the user. Yep. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. So the people on Twitch have just been very, very low quality, very below the belt. And so, like I said, we might be removing ourselves from that particular platform. The Phoenix effect. I'm not going to go into that tonight, but we're going to talk about the Phoenix effect. We're going to talk about what it means to unbuild yourself. Unbuild yourself. That's a pretty cool thing, isn't it? Right? To unbuild yourself. What does that mean to you? I think sometimes people don't get things all the time. And that's the challenge. That's the reason that things get a little bit, I'm going to say, muddied sometimes. So we have to learn how do we take the concept, which is to unbuild yourself. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about fragile yet unbreakable. You are fragile, but yet you are very, very unbreakable. So that's a very, very cool thing. Fragile yet unbreakable. Okay. I think sometimes people don't realize their true potential. They just don't recognize their true potential. They don't. And when I say they don't recognize the potential, they just don't understand like what it could mean, what it does mean, what's something a certain way. So we're definitely going to dive into this, ladies and gentlemen. We're also going to talk about the healing in the ruins. We'll go into that. And lastly, we're going to talk about beautiful scars. So whenever we hear that things are bad or we hear that we can't do something, we blame it on the fact that it's our fault. And the thing is, we create this whole situation. As long as we blame things on other people, right? We should never blame things on other people. We are the ones to take responsibility for our own life and our own actions. So again, we're going to cover a lot of stuff. Okay? We're going to cover an awful lot of stuff. And so what I mean by a lot of stuff is we're going to like really dip deep. Okay? We are going to dip deep. We're going to dip very, very deep. And by dipping deeply, we're going to explore areas that maybe you didn't even know existed. Because when we break things down, guys, the world basically changes. All right, so we went into a lot tonight. I know we didn't get into the nitty gritty, but I gave you a rundown of what this week's going to be about. So tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to be talking about breakdown to breakthrough. And I give you some hints about this. We're going to get really really deep, really personal. So you might get some things here heard and shared that you might not want to hear, but it's for your own good, and this will help you become a better version of yourself. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now? Well, if you don't, I'm going to tell you. I am Mr. John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been an amazing privilege, pleasure, and honor to be this fantastic evening.